This video is sponsored by Final Audio. So the SoundPEATS Air 5 Pro we checked out not too long ago, and honestly, that was an incredible pair of earbuds, especially for a pair that you could pick up for around $80. Well, today, SoundPEATS has released the Air 5 Pro Plus, which has improved in a bunch of different areas. It comes in retailing at $129, but because it's Black Friday and because there is a coupon code that they sent me, which all of this will be in the description, you can actually pick these up for around $95. So that's not far off from the $80 of the regular Air 5 Pros, and I definitely think it's interesting the differences that are in this new version. But before we talk about the Air 5 Pro Plus, we need to talk about today's sponsor, which is Final Audio. And more specifically, it's on the Tonality earbuds. Now, this is a very unique pair of earbuds because it has personalized timbre. You actually go within the app, you go through like a listening or hearing test, and it customizes or personalizes the timbre to your hearing. And this allows you to be able to pick apart basically every instrument, even if the instruments are playing the exact same note. So it separates everything really nicely. And this honestly is just a different approach for a pair of true wireless earbuds. And that's what makes this pair stand out. And on top of that, the sound is just fantastic, but this is kind of something I've gotten used to with Final Audio products that I've tested in the past, so that's not really a huge surprise. And this is a Kickstarter funded project, which does start shipping in December. If you are interested in checking it out, I will have this linked in the description as well. And again, I'd like to thank Final Audio for sponsoring today's video. So getting back to the SoundPEATS Air 5 Pro Plus, this is a stem style earbud that's basically going all in when it comes to sound. They're using a built-in Aptos Class H amplifier, and they are also using multiple drivers. Where the original Air 5 Pro did not use multiple drivers, this pair is actually using a 10mm dual copper coil diaphragm dynamic driver mixed with an XMEMS micro speaker. And this XMEMS micro speaker is definitely what makes this pair stand out because there is so much attention on the highs, a lot of detail in here. It's easy to kind of pick apart a lot of subtle things in your music. And on top of that, it's made, especially mixed with the amplifier that they're using, to have this earbud be very precise, which we'll talk about all of that once we get to the sound. Now, as far as some of the features, they are high-res certified because they do have LDAC playback. They also have Snapdragon sound, so if you do have a device that supports this, you are able to take advantage of this, which gives you aptX lossless, it gives you aptX adaptive, and this pair also has LE audio, or low energy audio, which allows you to have really good Bluetooth quality and not consume as much power on the device itself. But they do have Bluetooth 5.4 as well, which means you do have multi-point connection. There's also a gaming mode if you're going to be gaming or watching a movie on these. This kind of helps cut down on any kind of lag. And all of these different features are things that you would turn on and off and switch into within SoundPEATS app. The app also allows you to keep these updated. There's plenty of EQ options already built into these. There's also a Find My Earbuds feature where it locates it based off the last place that you were connected to. So that's nice, just in case you lose them somewhere out of your house. And then another thing in the app is this is also where you could switch it between the different noise canceling modes. Now, I just personally left it in adaptive EQ most of the time. That way it would just kind of adapt depending on the environment that I'm in and, you know, where it would pick up if there's a lot of noise going on. So it kind of just knew and would just adapt that way. But you can just go in and manually switch it between the different modes that it has. But I am going to say with the noise canceling on these, that's just not going to be like the huge selling point. The noise canceling is okay, and it's okay really for just like lower tones. So engine noises, AC units, but if people are talking or if you're in a noisy environment where, again, there's a lot of people or a TV going on, that still kind of comes through about the same way it does just with a normal pair of earbuds. But the transparency or ambient mode on here is actually really good. The mics did a very good job of making everything kind of sound natural around me. It's really easy to carry on a conversation. I never feel like you needed to take the earbuds out. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, it does come in with an IPX5 rating, which means it's not waterproof, and it's really just only good against like if they get splashed on, or if you sweat heavily, or if you're outside and it just happens to rain, you'll be protected against things like that. It's just not a pair that you want to submerge into water. Now, as far as what they've included inside the box, you do get 3 sets of silicone ear tips. You do get this little cheap, generic looking USB-C cable, which sadly, you are going to have to use this to charge these because the case on these is not a Qi wireless charging case. And that kind of sucks because anything that says Pro, and especially if you're going to call it the Pro Plus model, you would kind of expect these to have features like Qi wireless charging. It's definitely something I've gotten used to with a lot of my earbuds. So do keep in mind that is not a feature on these. But speaking of the charging, battery life on these are okay, but that's to kind of be expected. Again, you have to take into consideration these are using a higher powered amp, and it's also pushing multiple drivers, which means it's going to draw a little bit more power. And so the battery life on these, you can only get about 6 hours on the earbuds on a single charge. And with the charging case, you're looking to get about 30 hours total. And do keep in mind, if the noise canceling is on and the LDAC is on, you're going to take quite a hit from that. So don't even expect 6 hours if you're going to use those features. But the good thing is this pair does have a fast charge feature. So if you do happen to pick these up and they are dead, a quick 10-minute charge will get you about 2 hours of use. Now, if you are going to use this pair for taking phone calls, it does have 3 mics on each earbud. And on top of, trying to cancel out a lot of the noise around you and focus in on your voice, it also has wind reduction. So if you're in a windy environment, it's trying to keep that from affecting your phone calls as well. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here.
So I'm having to do the mic test at night because I've had all kind of issues trying to get this video done. I do hear some traffic off to the side. I can hear dogs barking off this way. So this is still just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. And honestly, this is the main reason you would be looking at these, because they're using that Class H amplifier and because they're using that XMEMS micro speaker. This is a very detailed sounding earbud. On top of that, it is extremely fast. So if you listen to genres like metal, or if you listen to genres where there's just a lot going on, it does an excellent job of just keeping up with it. I mean, each hit of the drum, whether it be the double bass, if it's anything that's just chaotic, it is a very fast and detailed earbud. But what they also did not make the treble like overly harsh, overly bright, or anything like that. It kind of added a little bit of warmth, which gives it more of a natural feel to it. And same thing with the mids. It's not like too forward, it's not too in your face, but you can tell that they push them slightly forward so they don't get lost. Again, if you're listening to anything chaotic where, the drums and the guitars, with a lot of earbuds, that's where it starts to get muddy and congested. And everything in these earbuds, I felt like were very well separated. Now, because they're using that separate dynamic driver, the bass on these is pretty punchy, but it's not overbearing and it's not sloppy. It's not like a loose bass that's going to come in and roll over everything else, but it does have quite a bit of impact. And again, just like the treble and just like the mids, it is extremely fast. So it just has this clean feel to it. And it's really what allows these to kind of separate from everything else. And another area that this hugely improves is the sound stage and the sound imaging. It's already making you feel like you're in a pretty large room, but because everything feels separated, it does a really good job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion is this. SoundPEATS is definitely headed in a really good direction with their sound. I mean, the H3 is already my favorite earbud of the year. It checked off all the boxes and it had a sound signature that I felt like was catered towards me. Now, I feel like the Air 5 Pro Plus is kind of improving upon that, but in a different way. It is more detailed than the H3, where the H3 has better low end, especially if you're a bass head. If you like your bass a little bit more loose, I would say that the H3 is going to be a pair that probably appeals to you more, but the Air 5 Pro Plus is going to be made for people that want to hear everything and hear it in a very clean and detailed way. So I like that they have 2 premium options that are floating at around $100. Like I said, you can pick these up for $95, but you do have to also keep in mind they did sacrifice in some areas. You do not have smart sensors on the earbuds, so it doesn't pause when you take them out of your ears. It doesn't resume when you put them back in. There's no Qi wireless charging, and the noise canceling is just okay. I mean, it is definitely not competing with the much more expensive pairs, so do keep that in mind. Even though this is a noise canceling pair of earbuds, that would not be the reason I would recommend people buying these. This is going to be strictly based off sound. I think they knocked it out of the park, especially in this price range, and I think SoundPEATS has come a very long way, and it's grabbing a lot of people's attention. I can tell just in the videos alone, people are starting to pay attention to this brand, and that's a good thing. It also makes other bigger names and competitors start to pay attention to things like that and also need to do things differently. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new SoundPEATS Air 5 Pro Plus. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.